All right, all guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 brought to us by the official beer of the program, Johnny Cuba. European roots with that Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. Pick up a six-pack of Johnny Cuba for yourself, your local Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. That's how we're going to relax this evening. Of course, make sure you always drink responsibly. And don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. Joining us now is our pal, Driving the Line, your sports betting brand of record. You catch me on Mondays. I will be on tomorrow as well. Jonathan Coachman hanging out with us. Coach, how are you today? Good to see you.
My man, it's nice to kind of reverse the roles a little bit, be on your show. So happy to be here, bud.
So, hey, this is a big news day. I wasn't expecting this. O.J. Simpson, dead, passes away from cancer. It's so weird because, like, I got the TV on, and I don't envy these people on ESPN, be it television or radio, where just all of a sudden, in the middle of their day, they got to pivot without any prep, and it's like, hey, OJ just died. Go ahead. Thoughts. And it's like, man, I don't really have much interest in talking about OJ's playing career, considering all the extracurricular stuff. This is and also, by the way, it's very rare someone dies and you're going to have people celebrating. That's what's going to happen today. This is a very strange situation.
First and foremost, I did SportsCenter for almost a decade when I was at ESPN. This is the hardest thing to do, is when they walk into the studio and you're in the middle of a show that you prepared 5 hours for and you got 3 hours to do, and all of a sudden they say, hey, pivot, and you throw everything else in the trash. That's how big this story is. Sometimes it's just you do a reader and then you move on after 30 seconds. There's so many different layers, Zaz, to this story, and depending on how old you are, you probably have a different perspective on all of it. That's how fascinating. And there's been many movies made about him in the trial and all that kind of stuff. So when I thought about it, first of all, I didn't know he had cancer, had no idea. And you think about all the different layers of his life, the playing career, which I was way too young for, and then the acting career, loved Naked Gun, but then the meat and potatoes, the Bronco chase that I had explained to my son this morning. And I think when people look back on his life and his career, there's going to be way more people that have a negative connotation of him and the fact that he went to prison for almost a decade after the murder trial for aggravated assault. People forget about that. It's just, it kind of came out of nowhere, and I think you're going to see a lot of different people, depending on the age, have different reactions.
Do you remember where you were? The Bronco chase, which, of course, was right smack in the middle of the 1994 NBA Finals. So I was watching the finals. Then you got the picture-in-picture, and you got the Bronco chase, Rockets and Knicks. All of a sudden, we got OJ up in the corner. Would you remember where you were with the chase? And do you remember where you were with the verdict?
100. Well, I know with the chase. The verdict I don't remember because I was between my junior and senior year of college. And so I was busy with a summer league game because I was always, I played college basketball. So I'll never forget, we were having a summer league game that I was refereeing for like a high school league that we had. And somebody ran in and said, you won't believe what's on the TV right now. And for a lot of people in 2024, they don't realize this was cable TV was kind of in its infancy, only maybe 8 or 10 years old. But this was on national network television. And I remember thinking, because I wanted to be a sportscaster, that Bob Costas, that's who I remember. Yep. And I was like, this guy is so good. And I don't know if I could ever be as good as him because he navigated through the NBA Finals, the story, bringing it back, and everything that was about. So that's what I remember. The verdict, I don't remember where I was, but I remember thinking to myself, there's no way that he gets off. There's absolutely no way, for the simple fact that there was so much coverage. And this, every single day, it was riveting TV because they allowed it to be live on TV. Streaming didn't even exist back then. So I was shocked that he got off. It did not shock me that he kind of screwed it up later because he lost all of his incomes he lost all of his acting gigs. Everything washed up because of that murder trial. And I think there's a lot of people to this day that still believe that he absolutely did it.
So, yeah, really, a really strange day it's turned into, where this is now the dominant headline, when we figured the dominant headline today was going to be round one of the Masters. All right, that's why I wanted to have you on the program today. So I want to ask you, we'll get to a betting perspective, But
Mhm.
first, the Masters, have you been there? How many times have you been there? What's it like?
2015, I was sitting in the newsroom doing Sports Center, and our head guy walks in. He says, "Hey, would you like to go to the Masters?" And I said, "Do not mess with me." And I used a different word because it's my favorite event all time. And I went for 2 years. Me and Matt Berry, who's still there, he's actually still calling the event today for ESPN. We got to call the digital highlights because the Masters is one of those events. They could make billions and billions of dollars. They don't care about that. They care about getting people the best experience, the cheap food. And so every single year they're trying to make things better. And so the boss who sent me, he's on the competition committee. And he said, how come we don't have voices on the highlights when you go to masters.com? He's like, I don't know. He's like, well, we need voices. So he got me and Matt Berry. We sat in a big truck and called highlights. And by the time they sent them to us, they wanted them on masters.com within 3 minutes. So we would call a 45-second highlight, send it back up the road, and they would have it up. It was the most fascinating, fun 2-year experience I've ever had. It's like nothing people can ever imagine. People spend so much money renting houses for $40,000 to $50,000 a week. Jordan Spieth gets 2 houses, the same 2 houses. One is for people who don't talk golf. The other one is for resting. Everybody has a Masters tradition. And when I walked into the merch tent for the first time, I was working for Augusta, not for ESPN. So I got to go wherever I wanted to go. I went in the back door. It was 1 in, 1 out, 2-hour line. I got to go in the actual clubhouse. And I'll never forget, Z, Condoleezza Rice opened the door for me one year. Because if you're a Green Jacket, it doesn't matter how big of a star you are, you have to volunteer for a certain number of hours to help out the tournament. So Lynn Swan welcomed me one day. So it's a fascinating, and I've always said this, it's kind of like the golfing gods dropped the greatest golf course in the world in the ugliest city in America. Because there's a reason you don't see Magnolia Lane reverse with it shooting the other way, because there used to be a Dollar General right across the street. There's a Hooters a block down that John Daly signs autographs there every single year with his bus. So many stories. Is my favorite of the year. It's probably one of the few things I miss about being at ESPN.
And like you mentioned there, and I've been told this as well from friends who have gone, when you're at the Masters, number one, it's impossible to get tickets. But when you do get through and you win the lottery and you can get the tickets are not expensive when they're at regular price. And the food and drinks at the Masters, super cheap, right?
$1.50 for sandwiches, like egg salad, tuna salad, stuff like that. They don't take cash at all. If you have your phone in your pocket, you better have it off, because if your phone goes off on a game day, you will get sent out of Augusta National and you will not ever be allowed back in. Tickets. I ran into a son who was with his older mother at a bar the first year, and they started telling me that they had tickets forever. All the tickets are underneath a name. That's why you can't just give tickets away. Practice rounds, yes, but they're very particular with game day tickets. And I said, well, are you going to get the tickets once your mother, God forbid, passes away? Because his father had just passed away. And he goes, oh, no. Once my parents pass, both of them, it goes back into that lottery for the next person to get them. So there are so many ways that they make themselves extremely exclusive, and money is not one of them. Now, they charge a lot for merch. That's a lot. You walk in and there's like 100 different hats on the wall, and you order by the number. You'll tell, I'll take a 63, I'll take a 78. And then once they're done, they're done. Only recently could you even buy Masters merch online. You had to get it there. And if you walked out with too many bags, they would stop you, Z, to find out why you bought so much, because they didn't want you reselling it online and making a profit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who are the major players we need to keep an eye on this weekend?
So we're talking about numbers when you talk about Scotty Scheffler that are Tiger Woods year 2000 type numbers. He was less than plus 500 to win. And what it means is less than 5 to 1. And in golf, when you've got, this is a limited field, 89 players, but even at 89 players, if you're only getting 5 to 1, you can't bet that number. You got to find a different way to bet Scotty Scheffler. He almost has had 3 wins in a row leading into this tournament. He's also already run this tournament 2 years ago. So Scotty Scheffler is unbelievably favored. Then storylines after that, Rory McIlroy. He's had over 10 chances to win the career Grand Slam. He could become the 6th player all time to win all 4 majors. He changed up his entire routine this week, Z, and didn't even show up till Tuesday. Played 9 holes Wednesday, ready to go. He has 7 top 10s in the last 10 years, but has never been able to get the job done. Your defending champion is a LIV golfer now, Jon Rahm. A year ago, he was criticizing LIV, and then he took $300 million to go left. Brooks Koepka, last year, who are the 2 names at the top of the leaderboard? Brooks Koepka and Jon Rahm. He's a guy that I absolutely love this week because he's a big game hunter. So those are some of the names that I've looked at. And the fact that everything was pushed back, also a big deal. Why? Because the afternoon tee times, like Tiger Woods, for example, they may not finish today. So you got to come back out tomorrow morning, finish, then have your tee time. So a lot of the morning guys today may not finish until Saturday morning. And then you got to walk off the course, wait, and then play that 3rd round. So some guys could wait, have to get up at 5 a.m., and then not play their 3rd round until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. That's a big, big deal.
So give me a little here on Tiger Woods. Tiger's playing. That's going to get a ton of attention. Can he make the cut?
I think Freddie Couples has moved the line. I mean, it was plus money for most of the week. And then Freddie Couples came out on Wednesday and he said, I just played 9 holes with him. And I'm telling you right now, he does not miss a shot. He's as good as he's ever been. All of a sudden, you see that number changing. Plus 110, plus 100, minus 110. Here's the problem. If he does not get his round done today on Thursday, and he has to come out tomorrow and play 22, 23 holes, that's going to be a big-time issue. Because when you get your body revved up and ready to go and you stretch out and you do all your weightlifting and then you stop, and then you got to come out 2 hours later for a body like his that's all beat up, I think it's going to be very, very difficult to do. But from what I understand, Tiger Woods to make the cut is the most popular bet on the entire board for almost every single sports book.
Is his biggest issue being able to walk the course?
100%. And the ankle, I'm trying to remember which one it is, that is very, very weak. So apparently he can still hit all the shots. And I saw some in the practice round. He still looks fantastic. But I called the Genesis for PGA Tour Live back in February, which was the last event that he played in. He had to withdraw with the flu. But there's a lot of times that he can't get through the golf ball. Augusta National is perhaps the most hilly golf course that the players will play the entire year. So walking up and down all those hills that you really can't tell on TV that they're that steep over the course of 2 days and wet and really slow, I think it's going to be a bigger hindrance than it's going to be a help because of the conditions and the way his body is holding up.
And Coach, what are the big holes? You know, what are the famous holes for the Masters?
Well, you got the second hole. That's a par 5. Famous albatross from Louis Oosthuizen several years ago. And then kind of 3 is not, 4 is the par 3. And then you got 5, the par 4. But then when you get to 8, people don't realize whenever they hit that second shot, they fall back because it's that big par 5. It is straight uphill, but you can't tell on TV. So that's a par 5 that guys love to birdie and try to eagle. And then you got 9. And then when you get over to 10, 10's the famous hole where Bubba Watson hit that big hook in the extra holes to win in extra holes years ago. That's really tough. 11's tough. 12, the par 3. They changed 13 this year. So all those holes from 10 to 14, I think are going to play a significant role in who wins this golf tournament this year.
Wow. Excellent job, Coach, helping us get into the Masters here so we know what's going on. Tell everybody, of course, about Driving the Line as you continue to grow it. It's getting huge. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're a big part of it every single Monday and other days as well. Driving the Line. Check out our YouTube channel. All of our socials are the same at Driving the Line. We rebranded starting in January, and we're doing really, really well. We like to have a good time. We make it about the audience at home, which is the way that it should be. And we're not just sports betting. We also discuss other big sports stories that could affect things down the line. So every single day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We also have a golf show live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Great job, man. And I'll be on with those guys tomorrow so you guys can watch youtube.com/@drivingtheline. See you tomorrow, man. Thank you.
My man.